Once upon a time, in a peaceful little town surrounded by green meadows and tall trees, lived a milkman named Charlie. Every morning, Charlie delivered fresh milk to the townspeople. He was always smiling and always on time, and everyone liked him for that. But Charlie had one big flaw. He was greedy. Every day, he would add a little water to the milk before selling it. "Just a little won't hurt," he'd say to himself, "and I'll make a bit more money." At first, it was just a splash, but over time, he got bolder, adding more and more water. His profits grew, and so did his greed. One night, Charlie sat in his small kitchen, counting the cash he'd made that week. "This is easy money," he grinned. "Who needs honesty when greed pays better?" His heart was full of joy, but he was blind to what he was truly losing. A few days later, the town's pastor announced a big community celebration at the local church. "Everyone should bring an offering," he said. "It could be fruit, baked goods, or milk, something pure and from the heart." Charlie saw it as another opportunity. "Why should I give pure milk? No one will ever know." On the day of the celebration, people lined up to pour their milk into a big container to be shared with everyone later. Charlie, of course, brought his usual, mostly water. Just before the prayers, the pastor said, "Let's try something new this year. Let's test the purity of our offerings. I believe our hearts are pure, so our milk will be too." The crowd nodded in agreement. The pastor called over a wise old man from a nearby town who had a small machine that could test milk quality. One by one, the milk was tested. The device beeped. "Something's off," said the old man. "This milk is mostly water." Gasps filled the room. Who would do this? How could someone be so dishonest? Charlie stood frozen, sweat dripping down his forehead. He tried to look away. Then a young child pointed and shouted, "Look, there's a watery trail leading right to Charlie's jug." Everyone turned to stare. The truth was out. Charlie lowered his head. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I thought I was being clever. I thought I could cheat and still be respected. I was wrong." The pastor gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "Charlie, greed might give you money, but it takes away something far more valuable: trust and respect." Tears welled up in Charlie's eyes. For the first time, he understood what he had truly lost. From that day on, he changed. He never watered down his milk again. At first, people were unsure, but soon they noticed the difference. Slowly, his customers returned. He didn't make as much money as before, but he felt peace in his heart. He slept better, smiled more, and earned back the trust he had once broken. Years later, Charlie became the head of the town's dairy cooperative. He mentored young milkmen, always reminding them, "Don't cheat. Trust is everything." What Charlie never knew was that the pastor had always suspected him. The milk test wasn't random. It was a second chance in disguise. Because sometimes the biggest punishments don't come from others. They come from within. Moral of the story: greed may bring quick rewards, but only honesty earns lasting respect.